especially EU and Empire fans. Last time I can remember a big clash on this map by Empire specifically. They beat G2 and it was a massive, enthralling, very exciting match. So I hope we get a little bit of rendition here today. DarkZero, of course, looking to be able to take a map off of Empire, be the first one to do so, as you referenced. First ban coming out will be Thatcher. And I think, James, that is a ban we just expect now.
Yeah, it certainly is, of course. And Nomad also a very common ban here on console. It really enables that aggression. The Thatcher, of course, does enable, or the Thatcher being banned rather, does enable you to play a bit more world style, stack your ADSs together. And funnily enough, you look at DarkZero's bans, and they do like to do the Thatcher on this map, but they've also split that up with a Hibana and an Ashe occasionally as well. So they like to mix it up. I think overall, nothing unpredictable so far through the veto. Pretty.
Ooh. Yeah, this is standard for both teams. You almost always see a Nomad ban on this map from Empire, the Mirror or the Valkyrie from Empire. And then, of course, well, because DZ predominantly banned Valkyrie on this map, no need. You could just pick the Mirror. All of this is really usual for both of these teams, regardless of who they're playing. Nothing out of the ordinary just yet, James. The things that will be out of the ordinary will come, I think, as we get into the rounds. Will we see both of these teams be really tactical, really smooth, really collected and calm? Or will we see that aggressive Empire that is known to knock back teams? I think DZ will be ready to handle that, though.
Yeah, definitely. DarkZero have a lot riding on their shoulders. They've had quite a disappointing run through the Invitational so far. A lot of people had quite high hopes, maybe not high expectations, but certainly high hopes for this roster. And unfortunately, DZ just haven't been able to meet them in Stage 1. Like we've said, there was a big change at the start of 2021 for these guys. They departed with Hot and Cold, their long-time OG member of the roster, and they brought on MJR, the young gunner. And unfortunately for DarkZero, we just haven't quite seen as much success as they had last year when they did have Hot and Cold. Meanwhile, Hot and Cold's gone on to another team and is absolutely tearing people up. So, funny little note there. DarkZero maybe kicking themselves a little bit, but of course they have to commit to this roster change, and they have to start proving to us that it was the right decision.
Well, DZ will start Piano and Lobby. It's their second most played site on this map, so it's not out of the ordinary for DZ whatsoever. Their most played site is downstairs, but I'm sure they didn't want to seem predictable. They wanted Empire to take the operators, which would have been for downstairs. Look at Shepard on the Thermite. I'm sure they thought it would be downstairs first. However, it will be Piano and Lobby. So that Thermite will only really be good for maybe that admin wall. Other than that, and that's exactly where it looks like they're pushing. And Empire, they're very, very known for doing their admin push. They're clear across, their vertical takes. They'll keep this as per usual, James, and I don't expect them to go off that particular strategy that we know them to do from top down.
Swapping mags!
Empire, definitely a very thorough team. They're not a team that you often see try and do something a little bit sneaky, a little bit unpredictable, you crouch walk through them. No, these are the guys that they're so methodical, right? Like, they are one of the few teams, I guess, out of Europe that really does lean into that playstyle, and a lot of the time they're so good at it. Now, something that Fluke mentioned on the desk was a quote from Joystick in one of his interviews in the EUL, and said they used to be a team that would drone once and then commit. And more recently, they have struggled with that commitment, taking that initiative. And we've seen that in Invitation. And we're going to need to see more of it if they're going to be in contention for one of the top places.
They've got both the Maestro, Evil Eyes, and the Yokais to work with here. A lot of intel. You said they drone in them. Well, they haven't been pushing. I'd like to see Always act on that information. He knows someone's on the shield, and a quick peek with the SMG-11 would absolutely dispatch that player there. It's Mint, and he's on the Wamai. And that would negate having to deal with any of those discs or possibly any of those ADSs. They're going to commit to it anyway. And there we go. Well, my disc will catch all of those necessary grenades. And as more get tossed out, Mint will get taken down by Dan. And this is the methodical step-by-step Empire that we're used to seeing. And of course, NJR battling with Joystick, who ran in lobby double doors for a split second there.
Really nice start there from Empire. DarkZero doing their best with a really nice strategy, and Empire picked it apart quite well, and of course have found the first kill untraded as well. Eclipse in a difficult position, third highest rated player in the NAL, and looking to make an impact here. Finds the first pick back for DZ as Always goes down, and Eclipse will fade away into the black.
Joystick's only got a lick of HP to work with here. One Ash charge as well, and you're looking over towards Empire, and they are a little worse for wear in the fact that they don't particularly have a lot of the map control that they need to get this happening. By map control, I mean they need to get Spiral and back. They need to get Shepard in a spot, and Dan can cover above on the hatch so they can get this plant down. But you're looking over to the defenders. Do they have what it needs? Are Yokai's in place? Maybe some Evil Eyes. One C4 as well. There's the Yokai I was talking about. It'll zoom on out, get him through the fans, and a double kill for Scyther means Skies has to go for the kills.
Finds the first one. He can find another one. He can't deny the plant, but he can make it a 1 versus 1. And it's all on Dan. Upstairs with the buck, the perfect operator to play a vertical position, but Skies, we've seen him manage a 1 versus 4 clutch already in SI. He's gonna have to do it again here against Empire as Dan plays the patient game. Skies looking to bait this out. Scyther going for information, and Dan now commits. He's gonna have to deny this right now. Skies sticks it, but Dan clutches the round and denies Skies from taking it back away.
That was a really damn good effort from Skies there. We have to, give him quite a lot of props to that effort. He played that well. Game sense was on point. We expect nothing less of Skies. Unfortunately, Dan, he was not giving Skies an inch to the point where he was laying down outside. Maybe even just in case he tried to rotate upstairs. He was not having any piece of risk no matter what. And another bit of that strategy there from DZ with reliance on long desk with those were Mize, the ADSs and shields. I like it, but Empire had so much in their pockets to deal with it. So maybe next time they need a redundancy plan to be able to get Mint out of there, or maybe he has to play that a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, if there's one thing that for sure, it's that you can't just have a setup, a good setup from DarkZero and expect that Empire won't be able to address it, because clearly they are prepared for playing that little puzzle game of countering all the utility you've presented to them. Empire have done a great job of that, and that's really exciting to see. I love the fact that Empire is back in form, because back in the November Major, when they took the victory 3-0 over BDS, they looked like the best team in the world. Like, obviously we didn't have...
Wow. Yeah.
Honestly, I thought Empire was at that level. And they once were the best team in the world. Back in Raleigh 2019, it took these guys 6 months from going and qualifying for Challenger League to taking down the then at time world champions G2 in the grand final of a major. And since then, Empire just have not looked the same. And I think, Jess, we might be seeing the Russians back on the rise.
Well, you and I had a little bit of a discussion. Is Empire, or not all of the players rather, but is a lot of Empire, the majority of the players who are currently on the roster, are they more aligned to the environment that the LAN build gives them? Sitting by their teammates, being able to look at each other humanized, mentality-wise, environmental-wise. There are a lot of players, including a few players from the side of Makers who have that in them as well, who do prefer the LAN environment. So not saying that's why they're performing so well. They've been building up to this, and we've seen a lot of their interviews over the EUL stage of them explaining a few of those things. But for me, I can just feel it. I can feel that Empire on LAN, it's just a different kind of beast. The Russian machine is well-oiled and ready to go. And speaking of, well, I said DZ's second favorite site, or rather their first favorite site, is downstairs. They didn't want to seem predictable, so they didn't start there, but they will change there after losing lobby. Not going to try that one out again. As a result, now it is up to Empire to answer, and they'll do the verticals as expected. I don't believe there's any roamers here to challenge them at the moment. As they drone out to confirm that, surely they start to rip up the floor, and yes, they do.
Drone's ready.
Yeah, if anything, it is a surprise to me that DarkZero have elected not to roam whatsoever. Empire are a team that, yes, they're good at clearing roamers, but if you give them free map control, they will pick you apart. So I'm really looking at DarkZero to find, I was going to say a C4 kill, but Hyper's the only player with C4, and that's gone. And DarkZero really need to make sure that they don't get picked off and don't allow Empire to go for an early execute. It's really going to come down for DarkZero to pushing that clock further and further back and using the Yokais and the Smokes and the Maestro's Evil Eyes to deny this eventual execute.
Well, they know that that's where that cheeky little Electroclaw is hiding. He wants to shoot. He doesn't want to keep committing those grenades to it or anything like that, and as a result, he gets to save it. Shepard wants to make sure that there's no tricking going on here before he tries to open up on the wall, and that drone will confirm no one is in proximity to be able to do that. It's just the evil eye that wants to get rid of that sneaky little drone. And look at all of the DZ players. They're backed all the way on up to A. And if Dan decides to do a pinch push, this could be dangerous, but the plan goes out, Shepard. Surely he commits.
Oh, he does, and now it's a 5 versus 5 post plan as we see casualties on both sides mint the first victim. Once again, Dan stepping it up on the entries, and now this is such a difficult retake for DarkZero, but they start it with another pick onto Dan. Here's the vertical control. Hello there. Hyper takes down Scyther, but still this is not over yet. DarkZero have a massive task ahead. Joystick and Always can very well clutch this. As Always is trying to hold down the public bathroom. Time ticking away. Skies is on that diffuser. He doesn't commit. He has to commit now. There's no chance that Empire can come back. And DarkZero have managed to retake on the hardest bomb site to do so in Rainbow Six.
That was all on the back of Hyper. That double flank up spiral, that's what they needed. If you're going to retake vertical, you need at least 2. And I'm saying at least in this scenario. He rocks up, flicks to the player all the way through 2 sets of walls that have been opened up. That was a brilliant bit of mechanical skill there from Hyper on a weapon that doesn't particularly have the highest fire rate either. So you have to be accurate. Accurate he was, gets that retake. And unfortunately, well, there was no opportunity for the Sledge to know where to look. You can hear the buzzing going off the diffuse, and well, sometimes you get a little bit of tunnel vision as a result. Now we're 1-1 apiece. I'm looking over to DZ now, who've tried upstairs, or rather they've tried lobby. They failed that one. They've been successful with their most favorite site, which is downstairs, and now they will try the split site. And this one's a bit of an awkward site for a lot of teams. Some teams have tried to avoid it in totality. Others like to go there. I think G2 is a team that has shown they do like to go here consistently as a defensive side. I look over to the attacking rate of Team Empire on this particular site, and they do really well attacking this. Really well, usually. Not a lot of data to look at, but the data that we do have, it looks good.
Oh, gives us some confidence here. But I'm honestly just still astounded. I'm still getting over the fact that DarkZero had a 4v5 retake of Garage on Consulate. Maybe I'll just be stuck living in the past for a moment, let that sink in. As it is knocking on the door, ringing the doorbell. But DarkZero, I have some more confidence for them now that we've seen that. But, of course, like you're saying, the split site can be quite challenging. If anything, I'm impressed by DarkZero's individual performances. You really highlighted Hyper last round. He had a very average season, and he's usually a highlight player. But this season just passed, at the start of 2021, pretty average. And Skies has had a great tournament so far, almost at 1v4 in round 1. And almost a 1v4 clutch. Oh, sorry, he did manage a 1v4 clutch against BDS on day 1 as well.
Well, this particular site has the lowest defensive win rate in all of Northern America. So DZ, they clearly think that that is different for their team. That doesn't apply to them here today. And I want to see exactly how they play on this one. That would have been a good C4 had there been a player just resting underneath the bottom Visa window. And I think that's what Eclipse was hoping for there. Haven't really been able to use their C4s to full effect, but don't worry, unlike last round, they have 2 more to play with here. That's going to be really good for them because let's be honest, Skies is going to be the linchpin of the defensive hold here. He'll be underneath. He's got that cardiac sensor in hand. He'll be the one that wants to deny these quick plants that Team Empire have been implementing. I heard another one rip out and C4 says it's out. Wonder if it's pre-placed or not, very possibly. And with Joystick just creeping in, a little bit of a crouch walk into Visa here. He's in a good position to do some serious damage, and damage he does.
Massive pick. Skies certainly won't be clutching this round, but a trait elsewhere on the map. DarkZero find that numbers does regain its balance, and I can hear that C4 going off. Wherever it is, I can hear it. As some flashbangs go out, that's a great pick there. From the window repel, Shepard takes down Eclipse. Another highlight player for DarkZero. You have to see the rest of the American squad step up now.
God, these wall bangs, they're so vicious and they're actually in a direction of a lot of these players. Speaking of, a double for Hyper, NJR will get one for himself, and all of that advantage that Empire just had, James, it melts away like a candle on complete fire right now. Empire cannot do anything to salvage this unless we see some beautiful shots here from Shepard, because with 30 seconds left, there's no possible way he gets the defuse down, but he can get some kills.
Whoa. Yeah, very awkward position to contest, though. I believe that's Hyper on the bomb site, holding an elevated angle. There you go, pre-fire comes out both sides. Very small magazine there, and the Type 89. Hyper so low. Shepard pops him finally, but no time. He's going to have to commit to this defuse plant. Mint does not have a C4. NGR looking to come around from the hallway. He's going to let that plant go down. No, he doesn't. He rounds the corner to finish off Shepard. A great round there from DarkZero on the back of that massive 2K from Hyper.
I'm wondering what went wrong for Empire there. And when I say what went wrong, I think Hyper just decided to peek two different Empire plays and he won. And I hate to put it so simply, but if you win your gunfights, if you dare to take that engagement long range against ACOGs, of which Shepard was rocking one there, and you go, well, okay, I'm going to engage these players. I want to try and take the kill, and you're accurate as Hyper has been, then go nuts. That can really swing around, but that can also be quite dangerous. DZ have shown that they can make it work. Not sure if that's a consistent aspect of their gameplay that they're wanting to implement here, but as of current, I mean, they're one round up, and DZ are looking like they can challenge the big Russian machines, especially on a map that has boded really well for Empire so far.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
And while we haven't seen either of these teams play Consulate in SI so far, like you say, there is a decent amount of data to work off from the season and from seasons past, and yeah, like you're saying, statistically pretty good for Empire, even though they had close victories against G2 and Secret. They were victories nonetheless. And on the DZ side, they actually had lost this map a couple times, mainly to Disrupt in the NAL season and Disrupt again in the Pro-Am that DZ organized. So by no means is DarkZero flawless on this map, which is why I'm so excited right now, because Jess, like, that's 2 rounds that DarkZero have managed to retake after Empire planted, albeit that last round just passed, obviously quite a different scenario. But DarkZero, they're totally fine with coming back when they're at a deficit. And that is honestly the mark of an amazing team. Obviously, you want a solid roster that can maintain the advantage throughout the whole round and keep consistent, but inevitably, you are going to have situations where the attackers have map control and you need to retake it. You need to take a risk. DarkZero are not afraid of those risks.
I was looking through some of the statistics for DZ and how often they get planted against and how many times they retake it. Almost never, James. Almost never are they able to retake once the diffuse is down. I only have twice here since January the 1st on this map that they've ever been able to retake a bomb site. So DarkZero have been on fire, and you can tell because they don't usually or can't usually get that retake happening. So for them to be able to do it here against Team Empire, that is really, really good stuff. Gives me a lot of confidence that they are playing to their peak right now. And again, we're going to see typical Empire getting into admin control, getting those drones over. They'll then take perimeter control. They'll then want to get meeting. This is just typical stuff here. And almost always, you'll see Dan over towards this particular balcony with the buck. Nothing has changed. And if DC have done their homework here, James, they'll know this is what's happening.
Yeah, and of course, we have played this round out once before. It was the first round Empire cleared out Mint from that aggressive position at long desk really early in his shield. But of course, Mint's actually changed his position. He's not playing there anymore. What's Eclipse doing? Getting aggressive. Is he tempted to peek here? He's really feeling that pressure as a nade flows over the top as well. And Empire start to encircle, always secures the frag, quite literally. And Eclipse goes down. That's a great pick there. And some more map control for Empire to lap up.
Well, Eclipse was attempting to dance around what he knew was going to be an impending grenade. Unfortunately, he didn't expect the second to follow quite as quickly as he replaced behind that desk. They do get control, but they have less than 60 seconds left to play with, and they don't have connector control. Exactly where Mint is sitting. He'll throw a couple of magnets to be able to give himself a little bit of extra safety, that extra layer. And all Dan needs to do, he doesn't necessarily need to get in per se. He just has to hold off this connector player from peeking down the hatch, and that will be his job. He knows Mint is there, so that will be the battle, and there'll be another player in long desk. Hyper gets joystick. He was attempting to crouch walk in, I bet, and as a result now, the plant surely can't go down. They don't have the control they need with 25 seconds left.
Big, that is massive! And all of a sudden, Empire have fallen to pieces. Shepard once again in a position where he's got to clutch a 1v3. Walks straight into that Banshee. Mint's got to reload, but this should be no sweat whatsoever as Shepard can find one, but choking on the gas. There's no way he gets away with his life here. And Skies ensures that DarkZero take a formidable lead, 3 rounds to 1.
All of these rounds where Team Empire have a clear early advantage, that's where they seem to do the worst. And that is a ridiculous statement to make, James. You think any team that has an early advantage, gets the opening pick, or seemingly has multiple man advantage should do well in that round. It's almost like DZ are thriving under the stress. They're a man down or a man or two down and they go, no problems. That's actually when we fare our best. That's a very strange dynamic we're seeing here right now, ladies and gentlemen. And as a result, DZ are taking advantage of Empire, who are seemingly feeling quite good in the mid round, and then using that against them. That's what you want. I don't want to put this down to which side each of these teams are playing on, because in North America on console, it's pretty 50-50, attacking, defending sided. On this particular map as a whole, you look over towards the European League, at least in stage 1, and it's been played 10 times, so I've got a pretty good sample data pool here to go from. It's a little bit more defensive sided, so that's the only kind of leg up I'm going to give Empire, is that maybe they might fare a little better, a smidge better on their defensive side.
Yeah, and DZ did get the option of which side they wanted to start on. They chose defense, but when Empire chose which side to start on in overtime, they actually chose attack. So that Empire actually prefers their attacks, and because of that, I really think they really should be looking for a 3-3 half here. We're going to need to see Empire come back, because even like a 3-3 half, right, that's 50-50. A 4-2 half in favor of DarkZero, that is quite far from a 50-50. So even if it's like 52, 54% defender-sided, that is even more so represented in this game, right? Like, it's more defender-sided than the average. So I would be concerned for Empire if they let any more rounds slip here while they're attacking. But they do go back down to the garage cafeteria. This was the round that DarkZero had that 5v5 retake. Happened. Surely Empire don't let that happen again.
Well, as they attempt to get a little bit of top floor control, yet again, very signature of Team Empire on this map. It'll be DZ who decides, yeah, we know you like top floor, so we're going to start up here ourselves. NJR taking a very aggressive angle over towards that particular window. And the reason he'll play here is, well, he could peek out if he wants to, if anyone was playing out on car and garage, but for the most part, they just want to delay Empire as much as they can. Hyper's up there, NJR is up there. With the drones being wasted and thrown away here from Team Empire, not being able to confirm exactly where they are, they're doing exactly the job of a roamer, or one of the jobs of the roamer, and that is time delay. And it's being beautifully presented here by DZ. Surely they get another drone now. There we go, and Hyper can just run away. These drones are being thrown into the abyss now.
This is fantastic from DarkZero. What an adaptation. First time they defended this site, 5 players on site. Now, knowing that Empire's going to go for a full map control take, DarkZero contest the roam, and more so, like you're saying, they fall back. Sky's going to come open the hatch, and Roman's come back to site. That is beautiful. DarkZero now have a 5 versus 5 anchor setup, but they've wasted nearly 2 minutes of Empire's time.
Unbelievable. That is a hallmark. That is a trademark. Perfect roam setup. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do damage to any of the players who were roam clearing, but let's be honest, Empire didn't really commit to the roam clear. They just kind of held angles, was hoping DZ would run in their line of sight. Beautiful bit of game sense from a few of those players to get back, mostly unscathed. Of course, Eclipse and NJR have taken a little bit of damage, but when you've got less than 60 seconds left and every single one of you is alive, that's a damn good trade if you ask me.
The only thing that Empire have going for them is the fact that DZ doesn't have a Maestro or an Echo for plant denial, but still Skies has 2 gas left. Look at all the mute jammers denying these drones. Empire surely starting to get stressed out here as time is ticking away. They need to make sure that they have a viable execute, but 25 seconds remain and Mint opens up the round with a kill onto Joystick. There is a trade, but this is going to be a bloodbath of an execute here with the Russians filing in to force down a plant, and Eclipse is on the flank. Surely there's no way Empire can make this work. DarkZero have everything going for them, and there's just nothing that Scyther can do to bring this back. DarkZero come out of the round on top. They are storming through this defense half.
Empire look worse for wear as the game is going on round after round after round. It is seeming like DZ are just settling into the rhythm of things. And unfortunately for Team Empire, that rhythm is something they've never heard before. They just can't seem to get themselves into their attacking half here. And that one round, that measly one round they've been able to walk away with so far is going to cause them very big issues because, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to break it down for you this way, but Empire on Consulate, statistically in the past 6 months, they're an attacking-sided team. So either they're going to have to flip the stats here and become a defensive-sided team, or this is going to be a heavy domination from DarkZero.
I had to have a little bit of a chuckle when we saw that replay on the program feed of the hatch being popped by Skies. Roman saying, yeah, here we go, return back to site. There you go, easy as you like. I just love that from DZ. And like I mentioned it during the round, but what a perfect example of countering your opponent mid-game. That's what DarkZero did. The first time they defended Garage, they went for a full site hold, and Empire took that map control for free. Next time around, DarkZero go for roam contest, but instead of committing and potentially dying, they all fall back after wasting over a minute and a half. That is massive. And what that has now done, and this significant lead that DarkZero have achieved, is they forced Empire to use that tactical timeout. You only get one map. Empire has now used it for their final attack round. That puts so much pressure on them actually winning this round, because no doubt they were talking about their attack. They don't get a momentum breaker in the second half if they need one. They've used it right now.
Well, there you go. That is the little bit of a momentum break. I'm going to call it that for Team Empire, because I really don't think there is a lot that you can say to Team Empire. It's not that their strategies are wrong. It's not what they're trying to do is wrong. It's that DZ along every step of the way has an answer. And unfortunately, when you're trying to adapt to the adaptations, that is a vicious cycle that is very, very hard to break. Be interesting to see how DZ decide to play this particular site. And the reason I say interesting is, well, we've seen it played multiple different ways to different successes, but they should know by now, when we are 5, now 6 rounds in, that Empire are going to take that admin. They're going to want a little bit of that projected meeting control. It is going to be the same, unless Empire are going to break that sort of repetitious curse.
Well, we've seen Empire come back from deficits in the past. We've seen them recover from a shambles of a stage 1 and go flawless in Invitational. But I have a sneaky suspicion, Jess, that flawless run may end here. DarkZero have looked so good. And I mean, thank God as well, because after stage 1 in the NAL, 6th place after top 4 and 2 first place finishes in 2020. These guys, even coming into Invitational, they lost to FaZe very convincingly. They lost to BDS, a tighter game, but the only match DZ have won so far is against Cyclops. They might be able to get their second one here against Empire.
Well, it's a desperately needed one, and a lot of people will be sitting there going, well, even if it does break Team Empire's winning streak here, it doesn't mean too much for them. They'll surely make the playoffs easy as pie. But when you're thinking about seeding, you're thinking about upper and lower bracket, there's so many things to go through. And speaking of going through, there's a couple of bullets that'll go through the skull of Dan as he is put out of commission. That is the pinch control that is necessarily inside of that meeting. And Joystick, he'll fall to a C4 as I speak. There's just so much going on so quickly here, James. They've sped this up well faster than I expected.
This aggression working out well for DZ. As I say that, I jinxed them. And the numbers are evened out. But still, aggressive angles held. Eclipse wants it. He wants it so bad, and he gets it. That's one pick. He may get punished for this. He's going to try and take a frag with this shotgun, but Scyther punishes once again. A 2 versus 2. Numbers evened out. Scyther and Shepard to try to bring this back for Empire. Low HP on the Zephyr is going to make this a bit difficult, but it's Mint and Skies, and pivotally, Skies still has the cardiac sensor to get some information, but Empire have information gathering of their own in these drones, which they will need to leverage to pull off and execute.
Well, that concussion confirmed earlier that no one was inside of A site. Now Mint has decided to wriggle, snake his way on in. If they don't recheck that with a drone, then there's nothing they can do. Are they deciding to do a double hatch drop here? Do they want to hit the bottom floor instead of, yeah, this is the best opportunity for them. Mint, if he doesn't hit his shots, he will be worse for wear. Take it back. It's a team kill. Oh, no. Now it's a fortified 1v1. Cam will confirm Shepard's position here, James. And I tell you what, this is a 1v1 you don't want to take against a Sky with a UMP. Worst weapon in the game, but the man doesn't miss. And it's going to be another round for DZ here on the back of Skies, who every time he has the UMP in hand, the man makes it work.
That he does. Another clutch from Skies here in the Six Invitational. A massive moment. And with that, look at him. He's chilling. He's just vibing. Got that hot pack to warm his hands up a little bit. Doesn't really need it, honestly. He's been red hot fire. And with that, DarkZero take the half 5-1. What a statement that North America has made right here. And what a redemption for DarkZero. Going up against the only flawless team here in Six Invitational and well and truly on their way to giving Empire their first L.
They'll go upstairs now, and after success on so many different sides, I mean, I'm taking it back, James. You know, I'm so lost in that last round that I didn't even realize the sides had switched. I thought Empire would be stuck to the damnation of attack against DZ for the rest of this game. But I do take it back. Empire will finally get an opportunity to change the momentum now that they're on defense. They will pick top floor, and for those wondering, all the North American fans out there that might not know, how do they usually fare on defense and how do they usually fare upstairs? Well, to be honest, they don't do too bad. I don't have a lot of stats to go through, however, so take that with a little bit of a pinch of salt, but their favorite site generally is downstairs, followed by the top floor, which a lot of teams have been avoiding for the most part.
Yeah, well, we're definitely going to need to see something massive from Empire here on their defense, because I think it's pretty safe to say that Empire favor their attack. They picked attack when they got the choice in overtime. The DarkZero picks defense when they got the choice in regulation. Oh, that is such a nice spawn peek. I actually hate that. Please, no one ranked. I will cry.
Oh, James, don't worry, buddy. Next time you and I play ranked, I will let the enemy know to do it just for you if you do happen to spawn police line there, but that's all right. Nevertheless, you know what I want to talk about?
Joke's on them.
Well, there you go. Yeah, there you go. I want to speak about the Zero. We haven't seen a lot of it. I do like teams that play it, and once it's in a position where it's not been heard or it's not been seen, it can be a really great tool for those flanks, for those C4 cameras, and can be placed in such really crazy positions. Scyther surely will have heard that one, or maybe there was an ADS to catch it. And this aggressive window play here, I think he'd be better with a shotgun, but he seemingly wants to take the SMG-11 instead, and as he changes, he can't make his mind up. That's a grenade from below. He doesn't seem deterred whatsoever, and neither is Dan.
I love this from Empire. They've just gone 5-1 down, and they're aggressively peeking everything. They've done about 90 damage off of spawn peaks alone. And even deep into the round, they didn't give up. They kept peeking these windows, and it was clearly the right decision. As Dan's found one pick, that's Eclipse. You mentioned the Zero. I've also mentioned Eclipse as a highlight player. Joystick's still running out. Okay, I can see why they ban the Nomad every single time they go to it. They love this aggression. And DarkZero is going to have to take a minute to watch your windows, NJR. Do not let that out of your sight. DZ need to recompose this.
It's good to see that Joystick hasn't lost his confidence. That was almost an Empire player losing their head, however. And I'm glad because, well, Joystick hasn't necessarily had the best of game. That was a well-timed hatch opening for NJR to capitalize on Joystick. The man I just said, unfortunately, wasn't having the best of games. We saw him pop off the other day, and today just seemingly isn't his day. But it hasn't stopped him from implementing that aggression that Empire is now known for on their defensive half.
Of quiet moment now as DarkZero work on this top floor control. Still, I like this cutoff from mid. It's better than just the drone, which is what Scyther's looking for right now. But if Scyther gets too aggressive and tries to rotate back into lobby, he'll likely lose his life, and that's a big pick for Hyper as well. The site starting to open up for DarkZero. Scyther's gonna have to go big, and he does! That's a massive kill, and Shepard as well. But Skies does see the Yokai always! Hello, he goes straight into the bomb site. It's all Hyper, and there's no chance he can bring this one back. A C4 is the nail in the coffin. And Empire starts strong on their defense. They say, we are not done.
What an incredible C4 to just cap that round off. I said they needed a momentum shift. It would seem that their defensive side will be that momentum shift that they needed. I want to say that nice mixture of early aggression onto DZ made them question themselves. You said about 90 HP just off spawn peaks alone. Brilliant stuff there. But then when they needed to back on up, they did. That SMG-11 shot all the way down past spiral stairs. However, that was the icing on the cake, the cherry on top for me. Beautiful shot there. And this could be the resurgence Empire needs to come back into this matchup, because if DarkZero win one more round, it will force Empire to have to win the rest of the rounds just to get into overtime.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Well, a marathon starts with the first step, right? And that's what Empire...
Yeah.
It's going to be a big, big road to come back, but I think it's possible. The thing that really gives me confidence, Jess, is the fact that Empire on their attack, like, they looked scared. It was like what we've been talking about this whole time. The Empire from stage one, Joystick said it himself, they were not acting upon the information they were gathering. They would drone someone in, and no one would enter, and they would just drone it again, and no one would enter, and there's just a vicious cycle for Empire where they just didn't have that confidence. And they looked like that on their attacks here on Consulate, sadly. I was a bit worried. But here on their defense, they're like, nah, guys, put caution to the wind. And taking sight there against, I can't remember who it was trying to plant, Skies. Just so many good plays where Empire are backing themselves, that they have made the right decision, backing their gunplay as well. And this starts to give me some hope. They just need to keep it up.
I said before, Joystick might have had a lot of his confidence dwindled by his inability to win almost any of his gunfights throughout this game so far, but it just doesn't seem like he's deterred whatsoever. That's what you want, a team that's confident that even though they haven't performed in the first half, the second half can bring some changes. Scyther was just a millisecond away from a possible kill there under the spiral rappel, but Eclipse has chosen the right window for now, and I think he heard them. Yes, he did, so nice little pre-fire will come out, and it's the quiet before the storm here, James. That's how I feel, as this extended roam upstairs from Empire is something that's very classical of their defensive hold. And DZ, they'll do the same thing as before. They'll take from admin, and Dan, he'll take the head of Mint. And DZ are yet again a little bit worse for wear, but we have seen Empire drop an advantage very early on.
Oh, what a wallbang there from Scyther. On fire this game, and hello there, Joystick. The Cyborg himself seems to have had a software update, and he is running rings around DarkZero. Eclipse has no chance. Empire of flawless rounds. Hold my beer, Jess. I think this is happening.
You know what they needed? They were just warming up. You know, when you, and I don't know if there's other motorbike riders out there in the world, but what I do in the morning, it's nice and cold here in the Southern Hemisphere, and I turn my motorbike on and I let it run for a little bit just to warm up the machine. And well, that's what the Russian machine needed. They just need to warm up in the first half before they absolutely let it become an unleashed monster. I don't even know what to say. Did they even get down to the middle floor, James? Or was that all upstairs where they just fell piece by piece?
Pretty sure. Well, the first pick was a spawn peak, or like a window peak outside, and everyone else died on the top floor. And it's Empire these days. Also, we'll say, as we saw in that replay just then, that was the MP5 skin for, sorry, the Empire skin for the MP5, which I kind of forgot that was a thing. I've got the R4C one in honor of myself, Joystick.
Bomb located by attackers.
But there are just too many good skins to run. Like, I want to run the Talon.
DZ has one of the best one, though. Let's be honest. The DZ skin is, it's just, the T5 skin is unbelievable. Both teams have good skins, but I do think DZ probably hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah, I Am Dead Bird did a fantastic job designing that. They also did the Sonic skin for the TCSG. Which is
There you go.
one. Yeah. The more you know. Austin, get on it, guys. Good stuff.
Great skins, and it supports the players.
What's the exactly?
Oh.
Great minds, right? Great minds.
Great minds. You know, we're in sync. You know, ladies and gentlemen, James and I have almost never casted before. Just want you to know. We were just forced to be thrown in together here, and I've loved every single second.
So challenging.
Oh,
I mean, yeah,
whoa,
I love it.
Whoa. Yeah, that hurts my heart. Nevertheless, another roam with a couple of more reinforcements this time to be able to give them a little bit more fortification upstairs. DZ are hoping that they do not repeat last round because it will mean that they have not made any progress on this particular hold upstairs. And well, they're going to need to. It's a piano and lobby defense. Most teams will hold top floor. You'd be crazy not to. It'll be up to NJR surely to make this entry and get rid of the shield with grenades in hand for Mint.
Yeah, well, that was what we saw when Empire were attacking. They had a really nice nade kill. It was always onto the DZ player in the position where Dan is right now. But with that ADS and that shield, it might be a little bit more difficult. I've never seen standing on top of the little upturned couch have a deeper angle. And due to the elevation of the stairs, you might get a nicer angle there for pardon me, Joystick. Got the hiccups. They are, though, going to have to see if he can do some work here. You mentioned those Ash rounds as well, might be able to help out. Always finds the first pick. Empire still running away with this, but Hyper finds the return, and that's Dan going down. Empire start to peel back.
Well, they've wasted half of the round now, and unfortunately, as a result, one has fallen. That's the smokes, the shotgun gone, but it's not a huge loss unless you're, of course, thinking about the fact that DZ could just run on into B and plant. There'd be no smoke babes to deal with it. Multiple C4s, however, if they can get themselves maybe over to that cubby hatch or below and then toss them on up. But if you think about the time wasted here, it's beautifully done here from Empire. DZ seem to be stalling out, but let's be honest, they don't need more of the top floor than meeting. But these long angles being held by Empire are the problem over in bathroom and over in console. That will be the big issue. Joystick, he does hit heads. That carbine being nerfed does nothing to him. And that's Diffuser down. C4, I spoke about it before here, James. It goes down, and with 35 seconds left, it looks like DZ, they want to challenge top instead of just going for the plant.
Oh, and it's so difficult as Mint goes down as well. And still DarkZero do not have the Diffuser. NJR, the newbie on the squad, Eclipse, one of the OGs of Rainbow Six Siege. He's going to have to step up as well as NJR goes deep, has some information, going to have to go for the vault, always wins that. And now Eclipse, low HP, low chance, no diffuser. This is the end of the line for him as Empire will likely hold this one down. Scyther for the last kill. Shepard's pretty happy about that one, and Empire are one round away from evening the scoreline.
A beautiful bit of passive aggressiveness there from Empire, especially mid to late round. A lot of teams will try and hold that meeting with their entire lives. They'll throw everybody at it if they have to. Whereas Empire, once they'd lost Dan on the smoke, they thought better of it. Take the long angles. If you can get the kill, good. Once Joystick on the Jaeger had gotten that kill, you could just see them run away, shift W faster than I've seen any other roamers try and get away. And that was down yellow, and they had the numbers advantage. They damn knew it. They wouldn't have known that the diffuser was down, unfortunately, because, well, points aren't on. And as a result, now the lead the DarkZero had, the buffer room they had, James, is so slowly dwindling away. A 5-4 scoreline. There'll be a little bit of attack pause there, I believe, I'm going to say.
Indeed it is. Brandon Carr himself, BC, the coach, going to be giving these guys a bit of advice. Man's actually played in an Invitational Grand Final before on that stage in Milan.
Yep.
People would remember 2018 Six Invitational. Evil Geniuses versus Penta. BC was on the losing team.
That is more than most of us will ever get to say in our lives. So good on him. He's in fact, look, I have two favorite players in the world. I have a favorite player, Pojamin. He's a coach now, so technically I don't have any favorite players. But when I look to a player who was an expert with the grenades, it was BC. There was no one who could cook them or place them or arch them the same way that BC could. And I miss the days of having players who could just expertly use grenades the way he did. So they've got a really good coach behind them. There's a lot of strategy to what they do, and there's a lot of wisdom behind BC being their coach. But if you look over to Empire as well, if you haven't watched their content, I 100% thoroughly say go check it out. Their coaches are very stringent. Their videos show it. It shows how hardcore they are when they are at their gaming house, which I believe is a lot of their year, actually, they spend playing together in a room. So there's two different styles of coaching here, and both of them seem to be winning out at the moment, with Empire just at a slight deficit.
Why does it not surprise me that one would describe Empire's coaches as hardcore? I mean, Russian machine is like, no food until you work. I'm very excited to think about all the pieces of content that they might have in store that I haven't watched yet. I'm going to go back and check.
It's great. Really informative. And as I said, so many different styles of coaching. And for Empire, they've had pretty much the same support staff for quite a long time. So they haven't changed too much up there, really. And speaking of changing up, they're not going to change up this top floor either. They want it. They love this top floor. I don't know why. They're not statistically superior at it. And in fact, it's a site that a lot of teams have tried to avoid. If you look at the European region specifically, top floor is one that most have tried to avoid. It's one of the least played outside of the split site. But interestingly enough, as a result of people avoiding it, it also has the highest win rate. So maybe that's it.
Yeah, and the thing is for Empire, right? They just won 3 rounds in a row. So Cafe, Garage are locked. Lobby Press is locked. Like, they could go here again, which they've already won, mind you. Or they could go to Teller's Archives, which, like, I don't blame them for going back up here. But, remember that they played so aggressively. They got quite a few aggressive shots onto players spawning in, and also a kill by peeking these windows as well. So if DarkZero are maybe a little bit more vigilant at punishing that aggression, might step away from the Russians.
Well, it'll be yet another admin attack, but this time from DZ. And they'll get drones zooming out in every single direction. Mint, Skies, NGR, Hyper, every single one of them on their drones right now, sussing out the situation towards the top floor from east to west. And then the breaching charges will come out from NJR. He wants the long angle, and they might also open up above those Visa stairs to cut the rotate. They do have the hatch open at least, and I'm sure there's someone on a drone or a zero camera right now to make sure that no one is flanking. I'm not sure what just got deployed just there, but a nice little sound. It might have been that Sura again, I'm not sure, but either way, Dan, instead of taking the smoke this time, he'll have the Roni enhanced to work with, and that has a high fire rate at short range especially.
I'm really looking at DarkZero. It looks like their attempt at clearing this position in meeting is by acing the back of the meeting walls, but there's a mute jammer stopping that.
Naturally.
And unfortunately, DarkZero don't really have a viable way of clearing that. I mean, I guess they could try and go meeting Balk, but they've been avoiding it. Is Mick going to go below? Oh my god, no, he's going to go balcony and try and shoot it off. This is just taking so long for DarkZero.
Imagine he just rotates off now. He's wasted all of this time. He gives up, drops the hatch. No one's there to collect the drop off. And as a result, he gets away for free, having wasted so many minutes of DZ's time. Mind you, no, but they could shoot it with the zero cam. Maybe get the zero cam in there and slap it. Speaking of slapping, Joystick's going to jump out and slap Mint. And as a result, Dan, he keeps safely in the corner here of meeting. They want to do a meeting plan. They still got 30 seconds left here. The Suri gate gets reactivated. This is the worst possibility ever. A quick peek onto Dan could do the job here, James.
Oh, and that's it. The double peek. DarkZero scrounge out of a bad situation, a decent position, but going deep with the fuser does not call for success as Skies goes down, but NJR finds 1-3 versus 1 now for DarkZero. How have they done this? It's all on Joystick, 1v2 now. Winnable still for the Russian Cyborg. He's had a fantastic game so far in the Six Invitational, and now it's a one-on-one as he baits his time. Baits out some shots. NJR on the other side, and the rookie gets it. DarkZero finally take match points.
That was a winnable 1v3 there for Joystick. Unfortunately, He wasn't able to capture that one, and as he does propel himself into the game with full force, I think that was a little bit too far-fetched to expect from him. They're only 2 rounds behind, mind you. This is a close game now that we've gotten into the second half, and Empire still has an opportunity going downstairs, going to one of their favorite sites to push themselves only 1 round away from overtime. And given how this match has gone so far, James, I would love to see it go to overtime, but I would also love to see DZ rip away the undefeated status from Empire. And of course, all of the North American fans are sitting there with bated breath on the edge of their seats, and rightfully so. Downstairs we go for possibly the final round of this matchup between DarkZero and Empire.
Need to locate and defuse bombs.
Ooh, I'm gonna need to take a minute to catch my breath after that one. Jeez. I don't know, on the edge of my seat. In fact, I was standing up for a lot of that. I can't even sit on the edge of my seat anymore. DarkZero. The fact that they managed to make that work after tunnel visioning for so long on that leading wall and that mute jammer and trying to shoot it through the penetrable upturned desk in meeting, and they still couldn't make that work, and then eventually they're just like, all right, let's just refrag it out, send it, push it forward, and it worked out for DZ. And sometimes I think it goes to show that you just need to commit, and you need to commit as a team. And that's what DZ did in those dying moments. And thanks to NJR, they won that round.
Sometimes you wonder, should they have just gone for the plan? Did they really need to flood this site? I mean, there could have been a C4 below, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't know that. They had no one there to collect that. I'm not sure if they even had a drone, and as a result, that was the right play to do. Scyther has that bathroom window open. I don't know if he was trying to get an early spawn peek off, but look at how many windows are getting opened up by Empire. They want DZ to question themselves. They want them to be scared. Mint can't even almost get out of spawn. He's struggling. He's surely gonna rotate towards admin to get safely around. And as Empire are trying to make their presence known way before DZ can even get themselves to the building, it's a dangerous game they play as they are trying to propel themselves 2 rounds in a row into overtime. And with about 50 seconds gone on the clock, it's a little bit quiet now. And as I said before, I almost feel like it's the calm before the storm.
As is the nature of Rainbow Six. And what astounds me is the fact that Empire playing so aggressively, picking every window they can on their defense, but we haven't seen a single player doing that die for Empire. They found, what, 2 or 3 kills doing it? But they've never been properly punished. DarkZero is struggling with this aggression, but they've made some good progress here on the top floor, and Joystick is very much cut off, now concussed. But does NJR check the correct side? Scyther's going to be a bit of a distraction here, and that's Joystick finding one. As elsewhere, Dan has fallen. Joystick, good for another kill. And sees a 3rd player. Looks for yet another player. DarkZero all trying to fight Joystick, but the Russian Cyborg does not let up. He doesn't give DZ anything. Scyther to support as well. Both players on double digits. The Yokais from Always also helping out these players. What? Joystick's gonna go for a jog. The rotation outside is perfect. No! Make that work! Joystick! You are a monster!
Long have we waited. Joystick activated. That's what we were looking for, baby. And who expected overtime? I did, and if you questioned it, well, you're gonna have to be eating your words now. It's a 4v2, Hyper and Eclipse, 2 very experienced players on the side of DZ. This would be the ultimate clutch here to put them onto match point, or rather give them the match win. There's one. He can get more. 30 seconds left. A quick pick from Scyther puts that out of its misery, and all of a sudden, it's Joystick. He'll catch the head of Hyper. And all of the match point dreams here of DZ are slowly fading away as a hyper-aggressive Empire is showing exactly why they're undefeated so far.
That was unbelievable.
Unreal.
Joystick. That's like a once-in-a-tournament play. That is a once-in-a-year play from Joystick.
I
can't believe he made that work. Not only did he find 2 kills on the top floor with the MP5, honestly, pretty rubbish weapon. Let's be honest here.
Let's be honest.
That does not have a lot of damage. It's got good recoil, but he's doing with the holo side. He finds 2 picks long range, goes downstairs, hides behind the little wall, and for just a moment pre-fires Skies. I want to know whether the default camera was up. Surely he must have had info on Skies there, because Valkyrie's banned. Maybe he's just goated. I have no idea.
Wall is fortified!
I don't think we could say maybe anymore, because after his abysmal first half performance, we've got to say it, first half joystick was just missing from the lobby. He comes into the second half, he doesn't let that waver him, doesn't let it deter him in any way, shape or form. In fact, he uses it as fuel to absolutely ignite this lobby in front of your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. And as we get one round away from overtime, I am slowly losing my voice from all of the gasps and excitement that have come out of me in this particular match so far. We couldn't have asked for a better match. This second half has just absolutely bewildered me, some of the things that we've seen.
And with that, we're going to the full 12 rounds that regulation may offer. Empire so close to pushing overtime. At this point, yes, surely they deserve it. DarkZero have got to prove that statement wrong. I mean, after a round like that, they need to. DZ looks so good on their defense, but they need to replicate that on their attacks here. They've only won a single round of attack so far. They're going to have to make it a double in order to take this. Otherwise, we go to overtime.
Scyther having a banging game himself, quite a lot of really accurate SMG-11 kills, which can oftentimes be hard to do. Of course, there's a couple of DZ players who are very good with the SMG-11 as well, so it's almost a taste of their own medicine. Dan, he's going to have to do the dance of fire here. He's going to have to use the bomb chassis now as there's no table left from the Ash underneath. The Surya Gate will protect him at least for the moment. And with this upside down rappel, Dan has confirmed that his position will surely be lost soon. If he doesn't win this engagement, he'll surely lose his life. Oh, peekaboo.
Hey, Mint on the window. We've seen how scared he is as he peeks this position. Even though the table has been completely destroyed, Dan doesn't have a lot of cover. He still has that bomb to hide behind. NJR drones it. Mint surely has to commit to this peak, but he's scared. He's not been landing many shots this game, and Dan is watching for it. And as we continue talking, as we continue this dance, the Surya Gate resets, and DarkZero's time continues to whittle away. That's a smoke, a drone. Dan doesn't see it, he knows that the player is on the window. He wins the fight anyway. Mint can't pre-fire that. And now Dan's looking for another kill as NJR waits, bides his time before ran in the corner. A flashbang from Skies goes out. No, that's not. I guess an impact from NJR, and now Dan repositions. And a strong position for him as well as he holds on.
He has the right weapon to be able to rip through a player. Almost no recoil. He wants that Surya Gate to reset, and reset it does. One big change they made was a Surya Gate on the rotate. 2 headshots, 3, 4, 5. And make it another, because surely this is overtime. 30 seconds left here, James, and Eclipse is down. It's an automated 1v2 as a result. No time to pick him on up. Dan will rotate away. He barely escapes away. And of course, Hyper is dancing between multiple engagements below the hatch. One in admin. With 15 seconds left, no diffuser in hand, he's going to have to get these kills.
10 seconds to go.
And Empire have fallen away into the night. There is no chance for Hyper, and Empire have made the marathon work all the way from 5-1 to overtime. Empire have done it.
May that mentality never waver, James. That is impressive from Empire, who now, unfortunately for them, they chose attack on their overtime. But it's very clear to us that they perform better on their defensive half, unless it was just the momentum that was lacking. For DZ, this is their best opportunity to overcome the Russian machines here by starting on defense, considering Empire's poor performance on their attacking side.
Attacker's bomb diffuser has...
Yeah, this is really a pivotal moment now for DarkZero. We've talked about how Empire managed to control their mental fortitude in order to bring back that extreme deficit. But now, DarkZero have only won a single out of the last 6 rounds. Where's their mental at? They've got to switch on the defense now, and while we say, yeah, it's obviously pivotal that Empire can do well on attack, because they've got attack here in overtime. They'll have to play 2 rounds if we go to the full 8-7. But DarkZero here can't make any mistakes on their defense. They really do not have any opportunity afforded to them. And as we go back to the garage,
10 seconds
we
remaining.
see DarkZero exhibiting their roam defense. Now remember, this is the one where we had 3 roamers off site. They all just shot drones, wasted time, and then fell back to the objective with a minute 10 left, forcing Empire to do a 5v5 execute. Empire have played against this strategy before, and I want to see, now that they've built up their momentum, are they going to be better at dealing with it?
We've got to reference it again here. Joystick said in his interview in EUL, he felt that they droned, but they didn't act on the information. They did that again on this particular site, on this same setup. They did it. They threw drones at the problem, and they didn't necessarily act on it. And that's something that they're going to have to deal with here right now. Pre-play C4 for the Visa double. I think Hyper will have to pick it up as they know that really, where is Empire going to go anywhere but admin? That's always their push. And of course, that's what they've done. As the triple wall gets opened on up, it's going to be Shepard to wait out there with the diffuser in hand as he drones to suss out the situation. And now the pinch for the top floor begins. NJR is up there. Hyper's on the spiral stairs. And as they drone it out, they will confirm that there's not a real, commitment to this top floor hold. They're just lurking nearby.
Question is, can Empire punish? Even though this is meant to be a loose roam, there's a chance here that Empire can cut off these escapes for DZ. That drone does not see the Vigil, of course, thanks to that ability, the ERC7, I believe. As Scythe is just getting to work on the vertical game, Joystick as well, might be able to find some prints, and in fact he does, so close to spotting that player, but DarkZero fall back once again, that roamer back onto site, as we are in a very similar position to what we were in round 5, where DarkZero has fallen back to the bomb site, more or less, and Empire haven't really found anything for it. Thing is, NJR still trapped here in Piano. Surely they can find this pick. No, always goes down. Looking for a second. NJR is refragged by Joystick. Now there's a minute left.
That's a huge pick from DZ there. They'll get rid of the soft breach that was in the hands of Always. He had the hammer that was going to do some serious damage to Piano and displace a lot of the players playing over in White Van, in Kitchen, etc. Unfortunately, they go down, but Dan is still up. So they brought a little bit of redundancy with them, and there's breaching charges in the hands of Scyther as well. You can hear some of those shots being fired out from Shepard, long range. And as they finally start opening up these verticals, I am worried. There's still 1 C4 in hand and 3 smoke babes in the hand of Skies. There's so much they can work with here, and if they lose this defense, I worry for them come the next round.
Hyper, aggressive position near the drone hole, might lose his life for it. He does. Another trade goes back. 3v3, 18 seconds. 2 more gas babes left. Skies throws one out. That Banshee makes things awkward, and so do the bullets as they rain down from mid. 2 players left for Empire, but they are falling apart. Shepard has just about nothing to do. Dan's coming in for the flank. They might line up, but no. DarkZero once again take match point here in overtime.
This is DZ's second match point. They couldn't capitalize on the first, but maybe second time will be the charm. We expected DZ to win that. Empire had a shocking attacking half, so it's not a surprise that that has flowed on into overtime. Unfortunately for Empire, got to reiterate it again. They chose attack on their overtime. This is by their own choosing that they might only have 1 defensive round to work with here. And as a result, this defense will have to be impeccable. They'll go to one of their favorite sites, which is the bottom floor. Their roam game has been phenomenal. So is DZ's. They're going to have to replicate what DZ have done, but to better effect here because they want that max overtime match point to work with. No Maestro, that'll be a 6 pick, and then a Maestro, and rather a 6 pick from the Habana onto the Thermite, which works well because I think they've identified that this setup is a bottom floor hold.
I'm really looking at DZ now. I think they can push this here. They really struggled on their attacks, but a lot of that was because of the aggression from Empire. I do find it a bit interesting, the fact that Empire decided to go Garage. I guess they didn't have as much faith in their lobby press defenses or their console meeting ones. Console was the only one they lost, if you recall. Garage, they won both times. Same for... actually, no, they only played the lobby one once. Okay, there you go.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm completely convinced here for DZ. I don't think that they'll be able to take this without going to Nate 7. And if that does happen, while there is part of me that wants to favor DZ, you know, that Garage is going to be locked for them. they're going to have to either go lobby, which they lost once, or Teller's Archives, which was a bit shaky, wasn't perfect, relied on some big plays. Let's see if Empire can keep bringing that aggression that we've seen from them on their defense, however.
Remember back to when Joystick played this exact spot upstairs with Malusi, and he hit so many shots in a row. It was incredible. Then he jumped out those exact windows and made some absolute clippable memories. I'm a little bit worried for Empire though. Look at a couple of these DZ players positioned outside of Garage. Maybe they're droning out initially to see whether or not it's free enough for them to be able to jump in and plant. Dan has decided maybe that's what they're going to do. Maybe I'll make some vertical holes of my own just in case they do decide to rush onto site instead of clearing us. But if you look towards these drones, I haven't seen any push Joystick or Scyther just yet. And maybe that's why they're deciding to rotate down to the middle floor. Okay, they are. It's just taking them a little while to do so. They do have admin control. But maybe they're just trying to be extra careful here, James. Uh-oh.
Droning down the Visa stairs. And Kitchen is clear here, but barricaded off. There's the Zephyr impact coming through NJR! That is massive! This could be it for DZ! Hyper and NJR are in the objective! DarkZero are stealing this away! Empire are nowhere to be seen, but that's a team kill! It might not matter here as Scyther is in a 1 versus 4, make it a 1v3, a minute and a half to go for this retake, but this is so difficult now. DarkZero took a gamble, but it might have been exactly what they needed. And here at the Six Invitational, we are going dark for DarkZero.
What a beautiful read of the situation. They have struggled against Team Empire's roams time and time again. And what DarkZero did was ignore it. They said, we struggle with Joystick. We struggle with the other players upstairs. We're just going to hit the site, and hit the site they did. That is why DarkZero will steal away Team Empire's complete run that they've had so far, undefeated up until this very point. And I'm going to have to eat my words here, James. I've been telling people EU over NA, but today it's NA over EU.
What a performance as well. What a way for it to happen for DarkZero. After a pretty troublesome run so far here in the Six Invitational, a nail-biting loss to BDS, and a pretty disappointing stomp against them from FaZe. The only victory was against CAG, and well, now they've corrected that. They've taken down a European team. And it was, like you said, the flawless team of Empire. And with that, there are no more flawless teams in the Six Invitational, which is incredibly exciting to me. I think that if you look in the past Six Invitationals, we've had some close games, but we've always had those teams that run away. Not this time. Six Invitational, it can go either way. There's so many teams which could raise the hammer this year. I have no idea who it's going to be, but DarkZero can take this victory and be pretty happy about it. We have more games, though, coming to you very soon. We'll have the desk break that down, so don't go anywhere.